Does blood have a place in our
Certainly.
booking exercise world?
Certainly, it's at certain points. But I would do what they're doing. I would limit it as much as possible. I would make it so infrequent and rare that when I finally did it, it would get such an emotional charge that it would increase business. So I would, you have on one end of the scale TNA that they do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you have on the other end of the scale WWE that is going to enormous lengths to not do it. And I would more err on the side of WWE because the more you don't do it, the more you make people want it. The more you make people want it, when it does happen, it now catches their attention, catches their interest, and it now makes them focus on what the story is that you're telling in a more dramatic fashion.
Specialty matches. Are we seeing hardcore matches again? Are we seeing?
I think there's a place for them. I wouldn't do them, even though I enjoyed a little bit of success doing them, but I wouldn't do them quite in the same vein that they were done in WWE at the time, because hardcore matches were nothing more than just a stipulation match. Stipulation matches are stipulation matches for one reason. They are to increase the odds in the favor of the babyface to give the audience what you've made them want or believe they need. That's the heat. Heat is not offense. Heat is the want, the need, the drive. All these terms came from the carnival days. So you've got the only way I know how to explain it is you have your midway, you have your games. The workers are the guys that are running the games. The only way that the workers make money is if they get people to come play their games and spend their money. So a mark, is a guy that's been marked that everybody knows has money. You draw him into the game, and then the way that you make your money is by keeping the mark there for as long as possible, believing that the next time he puts his money down, that's the time that he's going to get what you've made him want, which is the prize. Okay? The longer you can keep him there, the more you drive that desire that the next time he puts his money down, that he's going to win. Mm-hmm. That's the heat. The belief that the next time he puts his money down, he's going to get what he wants. The heat is making the audience want something, need something, and then if they come and watch it again, they're going to get it paid off. What's that? The thing that they want and need all the time is to see the babyface eventually conquer, go over, and not beat up, but beat the heel to prove that he's the better man. Because the babyface is over. Over means that he's the audience. The audience now lives vicariously through the babyface. They want to be him, so therefore they want to see the babyface triumph and beat the heel. Okay? Do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you've convinced the audience that the babyface can beat the heel, and the only reason that the heel was able to win was because he got disqualified or he dodged that bullet by running out of the ring or whatever, you've created a circumstance where now the babyface will come back and say, well, okay, now we're going to make a stipulation, or the promoter will make a stipulation on behalf of the babyface that it's going to take away one of those tools that the heel can use to avoid getting beat. Your stipulations are just merely a way to now drive the audience in, believing that this is their chance to see now the babyface defeat the heel. And those were, in the old days, were hardcore matches. Anything goes matches, lights out matches,
mm-hmm.
Street fight matches, etc. When you have a division where that does that all the time, it, again, much like doing the blood all the time, it waters down or takes away the significance of those matches.
So would you have a hardcore champion again, or is that too much because we're going to see a match every week?
Yeah, you're going to see that match every week.
Right.
So now you're going to take away the relevancy and the importance of your stipulations if you always have one that exists all the time. They had, and everybody thinks that again, we've all reinvented the wheel, that the hardcore belt or hardcore title was something new. It wasn't. In Texas, they had the brass knuckles title, which was basically nothing more than like a hardcore title. They just called it something different. There is nothing new. It's all just, it's been done. It's just been done in different ways.
Something that troubles me particularly about today's product, one of the things, is that the frequency of title changes,
Yeah.
and obviously, other than contributing to diminishing the importance of the title, it almost makes it impossible to have your title be the source of a feud or the reason for a feud. 20 years ago, if we were locked in a feud, it was usually because I wanted your belt. What would you do to make titles important again? Is it as simple as just giving people reigns that are 6, 8, 12, 14 months?
It's not that simple, but that does help. It's again, it all goes back to the very important concept of the win and the loss, that the win and loss mean everything, and that the win and loss mean everything in conjunction to your ability to work your way up the ladder to attain that possible position to where you can have a chance at winning that title. If that doesn't exist, it literally is the linchpin. If that concept is not prevalent, then your title is inconsequential, because the win and loss is inconsequential to get to that.
Right.
So you can have a person hold the title for 10 fucking years, but if it's all about performance as opposed to the win and loss, then the reason that the Super Bowl or the World Series means so much is that it's the wins and losses that build up to it that make it mean something, and you're reaching that goal. That championship should be the goal, and every win and loss should matter in some direction towards achieving that goal. If it's not done that way, everything you do, as far as every angle, as far as your titles, it doesn't matter how many often you change your titles, it doesn't matter how long you keep your titles on a person, they become irrelevant, because there's no consequence to anything that leads up to them.